Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. So my camera battery is about to die because I just filmed this whole entire thing, so I'm just gonna get right to it. Yes, I was gone, had a little bit of a burnout. Now I'm back, I'm excited to create. Let's go. So today I'm gonna show you guys how to do this eyeshadow look. I hope you guys enjoy and let's get started. Alright, so I already kind of carved out my brow. I'm gonna do my brows afterwards, but I kind of just wanted to get the shape as to where my brows were gonna be so that way I didn't mess with it too much. So today I'm gonna go in with my Colourpop Fade into Hue palette, like mixing two colors that you usually wouldn't put together, which are purple and orange. So I'm thinking of doing like this on the outer portion and then taking some of the shimmers from the orange part in the center. I'm also spot cleaning my brushes because I never have them clean prior to me actually doing my makeup. So I'm gonna apply my eye primer. I'm using the Urban Decay Primer Potion, and I'm just gonna put a little bit of that on the lid, and then I'm gonna take the Sephora concealer brush and just kind of wipe and blend that all over the lid. I really like this eyeshadow primer because it's not thick at all. I hate having too much product on the lid. If I go in with like concealer as my eyeshadow primer, I end up hating it just because it creases a lot. It's just really thick on the eye. So I just prefer using something light like the Primer Potion. I think I'm actually going to go in with my colored Raine palette because this palette doesn't have like a light matte purple. The lightest purple in here is a shimmer. So I'm going to go in with this shade Cute from the Color Raine palette. And then I'm going to take a Sigma E38 Diffuse Crease Brush, and just start blending that into the crease. Since I'm doing a colorful eyeshadow look, I like to go slowly and build up. I know it's really popular to kind of like pack on like the deepest shade first and then slowly diffuse it with a lighter eyeshadow. However, I like going in with my light to dark shades because I don't like to make my eyeshadow looks too dark. I'm just going to blend that out, just kind of really roughly all over the crease. Alright, so next I'm going to go in with the Sigma E25 blending brush. It's like a flatter, fluffy brush. And I'm going to go in with the shade Majestic, this mid-tone purple right here from the Colourpop palette. And then this, I'm going to concentrate that on the outer part of the crease. Just get it right deep in there. I'm not going to drag the shadow up too high, just because I want to keep it right in this outer corner. And again, slowly building up that color makes it a lot easier to not go overboard, but also easier with blending. And then before I start adding more color, I'm just gonna go back in with that original brush we were using to fluff this all out and blend it all out. It feels like, I'm looking at it and it feels like it's not blended, and I think that's mainly for the fact that I haven't plucked my brows. So a lot of brows are getting in the way. Alright, so now I'm going to deepen this up even more in the crease. I'm going to take this Sigma E42 Precision Firm Blender brush, and I'm going to take that shade Zeitgeist, with Zeitgeist on the bottom right here. And then again, I'm just gonna deepen out that outer corner. The deeper the eyeshadow, the smaller the brush. The smaller the brush, the less movement. As you can see, I'm not like blending this all the way up to the crease like we did with that first shade. Doing these little circular motions to blend it right here in the crease. You can also place the color where you want it first, and then start slowly blending it out like that. So if you feel like you've blended up too high, you can take like a skin tone, like powder shade, or you can take like a super like light color to the one you're using. So just to help lighten this just a little bit, I'm gonna take the shade Lovecraft, which is this really nice light pink. And I'm gonna take that same brush that I used the original purple with, just a little bit. Tap off the excess and really concentrate that towards the brow bone just to kind of help with the blending a little bit. So now I'm going to cut the crease. Now you can either take some concealer like I have done plenty of times, but today I'm going to take the actual eyeshadow primer that we used because the Primer Potion has this kind of like little doe foot applicator. It makes it really easy to cut the crease. So what I'm going to do is just start kind of dragging that around the area of my crease and just creating a line. And once you create a line, just kind of like take a step back and look and make sure that the line that you've created is above your crease. When you put the cut crease above the actual crease of the eye, it just opens up the eye a lot more. Then I'm going to place some more eyeshadow primer on the lid. It's up to you how far you want to take it. I think something that looks really cool is if you kind of like wing the cut crease like right here and just bring it up. One of my friends, Adan, does that a lot with his looks, and it honestly looks really good, and I think I'm going to do that today. So I'm just going to use the doe foot applicator and kind of just steadily drag outward. And to sharpen that up, I'm going to take this Lunar Beauty LBE 4 brush, just like a flat little paddle brush. I used this to carve under my brows with concealer earlier, and I'm just going to use this brush to kind of sharpen up that little line we created. with no added product. There's no added concealer on here. So I think I'm gonna go with the shade Retro Dream, which is like that shimmery orange. And I'm gonna take that same Lunar Beauty brush, and I'm just gonna start packing that onto the lid. What's nice about using like a flat paddle brush like this is that you can get really close to the line of that cut crease and make it really sharp. So next I'm gonna go in with the shade Shine Bright, which is the shimmery yellow in the palette, the center shade. And I want to place that in the like first half of the lid and blend that out into the shimmery orange. So you have that gradient of that like deeper orange to that light orange yellow. Don't worry about fallout. This is exactly why I did this prior to my foundation, so that way I could just easily wipe it away and I don't have to be as careful. And when I get fallout like this, sometimes what I do is I just and try to get like as much of the excess off without having to use like a brush or a finger. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take that shade Nouveau right here, this like shimmery brown here at the bottom, and I'm gonna use that to blend the purples that we have with the shimmery orange. So I'm gonna take that Sigma E42 and just start placing that right there. And again, going back and forth with those different shades to create the gradient that I want. So I got a cotton round and a little bit of my micellar water, and I'm just gonna clean up the fallout I had under my eye and then the purple in this outer corner. And then I'm gonna take the cotton round and I'm gonna use that to clean up the outer edge and just pull so I can get like a straight line. So I also want to deepen up that line of the cut crease. So I'm gonna take that deep purple we used from the Colourpop palette, and this is like a really tiny little flat brush, liner brush. It's legitimately, I don't know what this brush is. This is like a cheap one I got off of Amazon a long time ago. So I'm just gonna use that to emphasize that crease, and I'm just going to back and forth along the line. We're gonna blend it out a little bit more, so if there's a harsh line, don't worry about it. So I'm gonna take that small Sigma brush and use that to blend that out, and then go back in with that large brush. I'm gonna take a mixture of the light purple we use with that light pink. Half of this is just going back and forth and kind of like finessing it. Whatever step I'm doing first is the step that I take the longest. So if I'm doing my eyes first, I'm gonna spend the longest on my eyes. If I do my skin first, spending the longest time on that. Brows, again, it just depends on whatever I'm doing first, because I have nothing else to work with. Like for example, if I'm doing my skin first and then I do my eyeshadow, at least I kind of see the overall look, and I go a lot faster with my eyeshadow. So my line didn't come out as precise as I would have liked, so I'm gonna go in with a liner to emphasize it. I'm gonna take this Glisten Cosmetics liner in the shade Rose Quartz. It kind of matches the tone of the orange that we used. So I sprayed my liner with a little bit of water, and then I'm taking this is like a paintbrush I got at Michael's. So yeah, so it's a really thin little brush, and I'm just gonna swirl that in to the liner. If you ever feel like you have too much water in this, literally just kind of like tap it off and have the excess of the liner and water like run off into a paper towel, which is what I usually do. Because when it's too wet, you end up going with more layers. The more layers you go in, the more crustier it can become, or it's just difficult to work with. So I have the liner on the brush, and I'm just gonna start off like midway of the crease and just start dragging that outwards to where we place that line. This matches the orange really well, so I can kind of use it to clean up that line as well. So I'm quickly gonna do the other eye off camera, and then I'll be right back. Alright, so I finished the other eye, and now I'm gonna go into the skin, and then I'm gonna finish off the eyes. So I'm gonna start with primer. I'm gonna use the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. Just take like a little bit like that, and then just start pressing that into the skin. So I'm gonna take my Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector. Oh my god, there's a hair in it. No. So the thing I've noticed is like when I'm editing my videos, I'm kind of like, I wish I was more, not necessarily energetic, but I'm funny, you guys. I truly believe that I am like funny. However, when it gets in front of the camera, I guess because I'm just by myself, I'm not like playing off of somebody else, I just become really bland.
I love how I'm giving an amazing reason as to why to subscribe to me. Because I'm bland. Emily, what the hell?
The foundation I'm going to be using is the Uoma Beauty Say What foundation. I'm going to take the shade T3W Fair Lady and mix in a tiny bit of T1W Honey Honey. Just because I'm a little bit tan, as you can tell. And my neck is always a lot more tan than my face. It's like a whole struggle, everybody. Alright, I'm going to take a pump and a half of the Fair Lady shade and just like half a pump of the Honey Honey shade. Apply it first with my fingers just because I like to make sure I get an even amount of foundation on my skin. I don't want it to be too much on one side that I have to add more product. And I'm just gonna blend that out with my e.l.f. sponge. So next I'm going to go with my Born This Way concealer. This is a pretty full coverage concealer, so I don't go in with too much. I don't put that much product on my nose. I've realized that I just prefer going really lightly with my nose with some powder. The more like liquid and cream products you put on, it just becomes a lot more cakey. Product ends up moving a lot more on my nose. My nose is already a problem area in the first place, so I just avoid that area now. I like to do my under eye concealer last because that's where I want the most coverage. So I want that to like kind of dry down a little bit, and at that point I have a good amount of concealer already on my sponge. With this concealer though, I will say going in with a little bit is all you need. I wouldn't necessarily go in with several layers of this, at least several thick layers, just because it can start to look cakey throughout the day. And then whatever's left, I take it on the sides of the nose, down towards the cheek to kind of create a little bit of that triangle highlighting effect without adding like a ton of product to create that triangle. Okay. Ah, no! My sponge! That thing bounced like a fucking jelly bean! Where'd it go? Ah. Oh my god. I know that this is like my carpet and I know that I vacuum it. The problem is that my cat hair is literally everywhere! Okay. So this is the Milk Makeup Bronzer Stick. I got the shade Baked. This is a new one actually. I've tried this before. I had the mini and I actually really liked it. And I don't know, I love my Fenty cream bronzer. The problem is with that one is that it's in like a compact. And sometimes I just want it in a stick form where I can just draw on my bronzer and move on with my day. If I can actually open this. Twist that out a little bit and then I'm just gonna start placing that. I do really like this color though. 1 full ounce, 28 grams. This is gonna last you forever. This feels so goddamn heavy. Don't forget under your chin. I have definitely done that before. I'm gonna take the cream blush from Fenty and Fuego Flush, and I'm just gonna use my fingers for this because I'm too lazy to grab a brush. I'm using this tiny ass mirror. That is not gonna work. So I'm gonna set my makeup. I'm gonna take my Fenty Beauty Pro Filt'r powder. I am on my last little bit of it. However, my new order of this, I already got it. So once I finish this one, I already got a new one. So I'm gonna take my e.l.f. sponge, take some of that powder on the back of my hand as I usually do, and then just start setting that area under my eye. Okay, so now I have set my T-zone and I'm gonna do the rest of my powders and then we can get back to the eyes. Reach over to it. My powder brushes. Alright, every time I'm like, this time it's gonna be organized. I'm not gonna have like a messy area, workspace. I'm gonna have it nice and organized and clean and me. I am a goddamn liar. I am a fake. You can unsubscribe. Since I already have it here, I'm gonna use my Mented Cosmetics bronzer in the shade Beach Bum. It's very warm, so I think it'll look really good with this look. So I'm just gonna be very careful with this and keep it in the area that I placed that bronzer, just on the cheekbone. So if I'm going in with a very orangey look, I love using this bronzer. I think it's so pretty. Really quickly, I'm gonna use my e.l.f. Blush Duo in the shade Cantaloupe. It's this really nice bright orange. I'm gonna use my Patrick Ta blush brush. If you feel like you've overdone it with blush, I would go with your sponge to kind of dye it down, to kind of just pick up some of that excess, just really press it into the skin. By the way, I took the highlighter out of this little duo. And this is a Makeup Shack T102 brush. A great way to tie in your eyeshadow with your skin, not just by matching like the tones of the eyeshadow to your blush, but also using whatever highlight you used on the skin as an inner corner highlight. I feel like it just brings it all together really nicely. A little bit of matcha. Love me some matcha. So I'm going to take the Sigma E25 blending brush that we were using and then just kind of like use that to start blending this outer portion and then blending that purple into the lower lash line. Something I make sure to do is add a little bit more product right here on the lower outer corner, just because I feel like if I don't add enough of whatever shade I'm using, it ends up looking really disconnected. So I will take a little bit extra of the shadow and just really press it into that area. Then we take that first brush that we used to help diffuse all of that. This thing is hella beat up. The other one too. The other one I think is worse. Ooh, I think I'm gonna take this purple, the shade Grapetini from my Midas Cosmetics Neon Cocktail Cake Liners. And I'm gonna take that same brush that I used for the orange liner up here. I'm just gonna use a little bit of water, paper towel, and that'll just break up whatever product is already on the brush really easily. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna line the top lash line very quickly.
Hey y'all, so my camera didn't end up recording the last part of me doing my eyeshadow, but I ended up doing the rest of my makeup off camera anyway, so I'm just gonna put on the screen like the products that I used. However, I did lose like a little bit of footage, have no idea what happened to it. But yeah, on the screen I will have what I used on the rest of my eyes, brows, and lips, and then we are gonna wrap things up because I'm about to tell you that my camera is about to die, everybody. Love that for me.
Alright, so I ended up finishing all my makeup off camera. My camera's about to die. So yeah, I ended up finishing all off camera. I ended up using my Radiante Beauty lashes in the style Esther. This is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed today's tutorial. I'll be a lot more consistent coming up in these next few weeks, so stay tuned for more videos. Have your post notifications on, please. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!